we're so glad you're with us today. Welcome into Undisputed. I'm Jen Hale here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Jen. How are you today?
Man, would you believe the annual NBA GM survey? Do you believe what it says? Survey says Clippers finish first in the West, Lakers finish eighth in the West. That's what they said.
They say they have the best record. Okay, that's first.
That's what it's first.
But are they coming out of the West?
Okay, but guess what that would mean? First would play 8 in the first round at the Crypt, and the Lakers would get swept at home 4 straight games.
You and I both, we're going to put some dew on that.
Yes, we are.
You gonna put some
in fact, I'll go 10 cases right here. If the Clippers play the Lakers in the first round, I got the Clippers for 10 cases.
I got 10 cases say we don't finish 8.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
8.
Okay.
You over there bumping your gum. Your little monologue talking about the Lakers at 8.
I'm
not
bumping.
happening.
I'm bumping.
Not happening.
I'm bumping on Clippers and Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feeling real good?
10 cases. Big spenders this morning. I love it. Guys, we'll jump into all that NBA preseason action in a moment. My Pels won last night versus the Bulls, by the way. But hey, Skip, let's start with your Cowboys this morning. Dak Prescott reportedly will not be ready to return from injury on Sunday against the Rams. We started talking about this possibility yesterday morning. Cooper Rush has led the team to 3 straight wins as starting quarterback. But the Cowboys are 4.5-point underdogs on the road. That is according to the Fox Bet Sportsbook. Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, what shot do you give Cooper Rush at winning versus those reigning Super Bowl champ Rams?
I'm at a 9 because although I picked the Rams as my Super Bowl pick, Skip, I don't think the Rams are anything like anybody thought they would be. They don't look anything like the team that won the Super Bowl. And although we do understand that the previous year is a different year than this year, I did think they would have some resemblance of a Super Bowl contending team, and they've looked nothing like that this year. They don't run the football. First of all, I'm surprised that Dallas is a 4.5-point underdog. That's crazy.
Okay, that opened as 6.5 ahead of Monday Night Football.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, after Monday Night Football, they should have been down to pick them.
Okay.
And worst case scenario. Skip, look. The likelihood of this game getting into a shootout where you have to ask Cooper Rush to say, you know what, we need you to throw for 3+. We need you to give us 3 or 4 touchdowns passing. I don't think that's going to happen because when you look at the Rams have no threat of the rush. They're 30th in rushing, Skip. They're 29th in yards per carry. And only Carson Wentz has been sacked more than Matthew Stafford. And what have we seen over the last 4 games? 3 picks. And a lot of them either late in the ball game and they've been pick sixes. So for me, Skip, I think what we're seeing is that the Cowboys, with their defensive front and what they're able to do as far as pass rush, on Stafford, on that offensive line, because the offensive line has been awful this year. They keep constantly getting Stafford hit, and so late in the ball game, but through accumulation of those hits, you see him get reckless with the football, and now all of a sudden the other team has turned him over. And so I think this is why I have a lot of confidence that the Cowboys can win this game, because of their pass rush, not necessarily because Cooper Rush is going to play great, because they haven't needed him to play great. You know, Skip, 10 points. They gave up 10 points on Sunday. They gave up 16 points to the Giants. They gave up 17 points, and they gave up 16 points last year against Minnesota. So it's not like he's having to score 28, 31, 35 points in order to win these ball games. They keep the ball game close. He makes 2 or 3 throws late in the ball game, and that's the difference in the ball game. So with that being said, Skip, the first 4 games last year, Stafford was sacked 3 times. This year, 16. So he's averaging 4 sacks a game. Project that out over 17 games. Well, Matthew Stafford won't play much longer. If he gets sacked 17 times 4, it's 68 sacks in the season. That gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. So I think the Cowboys have an excellent chance. And after we talked about this a little briefly yesterday, Skip, after we heard Jerry, I felt very confident that Cooper Rush was going to start. He said, yeah, Dak can hold the football, but he doesn't grip it well enough in order for him to go play. So I felt very comfortable that was the direction they were trending. Cooper Rush was going to start this game. And so with that being said, the Cowboys pressure front, it's going to be a long day. They're going to have to do a great job. Hey, Sean McVay is going to have to call the game of his life.
Maybe they need Sean.
Maybe they die. Skip, he's going to have the game of his life to keep Micah and those Marauders off Matthew Stafford's ass. It's as simple as that. That's where the game is going to be run, right here in the trenches.
There are 2 trenches. There's also a trench manned by number 99 for the other team that you say is the closest thing to LT that we've seen.
But what have we seen? Now, we seen Michael Parsons the last 2 games. When teams say, you're not going to do anything to us, he's been quiet as a church mouse.
Yeah.
But they're still getting sacks. Aaron Donald gets double teamed. Leonard Floyd has 0 sacks in 4 games, 3 quarterback hits. They really miss Von Miller.
They miss Von Miller.
They really, really miss Von.
I first guessed that.
The money that Buffalo gave him, considering that they think about that, they redid Aaron Donald, made him the highest paid defensive player. They redid Matthew Stafford. They redid Cooper Kupp. They gave $14 million, $15 million to Allen Robinson. There was only so much. Had they known what they know now, they'd have gave Allen Robinson money and probably a little bit more to Von Miller and kept Von.
That is true.
He's a difference maker now.
He is a huge difference maker. I think he's making a difference for the Buffalo Bills just the way he always made a difference for your Denver Broncos.
Yes. And for the Rams last year. Remember last year skipping the playoffs?
Absolutely, he did. All right, so if I'm hearing you correctly, as you always say to me, you're telling me that Cooper Rush will be able to caretake or game manage the Cowboys to a victory. You have high regard for that possibility.
Yes.
You're all the way up to a 9 on a scale of 10 at the team, the defending championship team that you picked to defend their championship and win this year's Super Bowl, correct?
Yes.
That's what you just said.
Because I just saw what Jimmy G did on Monday. Jimmy G made 2 throws, but that defensive line, led by Bosa, they ate.
Okay. I'm going to get this out of the way up front. I never quite trust what Jerry says publicly because he is the shrewdest of operators. I always say about Jerry, whom I know very, very, very well from the hundreds and hundreds of hours I spent around him in Dallas, researching my 3 books that I wrote about the Dallas Cowboys. You can say he says a lot of dumb SH, but he ain't stupid because he ain't. No. Because he is a billionaire's billionaire now that he owns the most valuable team in all the world.
Did you see his net worth there? 16, 18 million. Billion, excuse me. I billion.
Billion.
Gee.
Jerry didn't get to be a multi-billionaire.
No.
By doing dumb SH.
He's very calculated, Skip.
Very calculated. I believe, based on my experience with Jerry and Jimmy Johnson in 1991, when we've talked about this, Steve Berline got the hot hand a la Cooper Rush. And they just said, Troy, we know you're back. We know you're 100% healed up from your sprained knee. Troy Aikman, at the end of that season, they had made the playoffs thanks to a late close by Steve Berline. Right. And they said, we're going to Chicago to play Ditka's Bears. We're going to ride the hot hand. We know you're ready to go, Troy, but no, thank you very much. You got to wait on this one.
Right.
You were the first overall pick in the draft, but we're going to go with Steve Berline. You know Steve Berline.
I do. I played with Beeline.
He was pretty good, but he fell more into the category of a game manager type. Not the biggest arm, not the most athletic ability, not the biggest guy. What was he, 6'2"-ish maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smart, understood the game, know where to go with the football.
Sounds a little like Cooper Rush, maybe a lot like Cooper Rush, right?
Yeah.
So the point was they rode Steve Berline's hot hand, and they went up and shocked Ditka's Bears up in Chicago, quarterbacked by Jim Harbaugh, believe it or not. And then they went on to Detroit, and they got shocked. And all of a sudden, Steve Berline melted. He turned back into a pumpkin, and then all was right in the world as they went forward with Troy Aikman. So my point is, I believe Jerry is flashing back to 1991, and I don't believe he's being completely forthcoming about Dak's status. I just have a gut feeling that he is erring way on the side of caution when I believe internally Dak is saying, hey, I'm gripping it just fine.
Right.
But Jerry's saying, no, let's hold off, because I believe he's looking at it the way I do, that Cooper Rush has earned the right for one more shot. Let's just see what happens. Plus, it would be almost unfair to me to throw Dak Prescott back into the fire. I don't care how badly they're struggling right now. They're still the Rams. They're still the defending champs.
They got good players.
It's still a big game. It's a big national stage right here on Fox at 4:25 Eastern. And it's a tall order for a quarterback who's missed a month to get thrown back in with the bar raised up here about 5 notches by Cooper Rush.
But you do understand, the more that you say, okay, give him one more game, and he plays and he wins that game.
I got it.
You know what happens.
Okay, but you You have to just literally take it a game at a time and see what happens.
Okay.
Is it possible that 1991 is about to repeat itself? That Cooper Rush is going to come out here to L.A. and shock the Rams 17-13, the way the Cowboys did in 91 at Chicago? And then maybe Cooper Rush goes to Philadelphia for, is it a Sunday night game?
I think it's Sunday night.
Sunday night. Well, that'll be the game of the year up to this point, right?
Yeah.
And what if he turns back into a pumpkin? What if the Eagles